Hello and welcome to my Megasize H2 Gundam build and review. This is from the Gundam Age anime, and it's one of the Bandai's Megasize Gunpla range, which is their largest range. It's 1/48 scale, and it's quite hard to find, but I managed to pick one up off AliExpress for just under 45 quid, which is really good. So just taking a quick look at the box, and it's a massive kit. It does come with some water slide decals. I haven't used them for this review, but it's quite nice. That's a high grade Zaku next to just one of the leg parts, so you can see just how massive the parts are for this kit. Like I said, it's a mega size, so it's the biggest range of Gunpla. It comes on 27 sprues in total, which is just bonkers. And one of those sprues is actually for the LED. In the bottom right hand corner here, and the top left hand corner in a second, this page, you can see that the LED kit is on a sprue, and you build it. I don't show it in this build because it's quite hard. It just confused me, so I just built it quickly off camera, and I do use it in the final build. So as you can see, I'm using my patented dish drainer method. You can buy dedicated sprue holders for like 20-30 quid, but these are £2 each off Amazon, and when some builds are across 50 sprues, like a perfect grade, having this many ways of holding those sprues is really invaluable. So moving on to the build of the feet, some of these parts are supposed to be assembled on the sprue, but I just cut them off. It does actually come with these part separators, so you don't need to use nippers, but it leaves the edges a bit rough, so I use proper nippers, and as you can see, I use my god hands just to tidy things up a bit. The plastic does mark up a tad, but by and large, once it's assembled, you can't really tell. It looks great. So just carrying on with the build, putting together the parts. Some of those parts are actually for the legs, but it's in the instructions. It says it's the feet, and you build some of the leg parts as well, because these are the joints for those. These are the ankle joints, go together really well. Here I've added in just a bit. I don't do it for all of the parts, I just did it for this one just to demonstrate how I use the pore type panel liner. If I'm honest, I'm a little bit rough with it and just chuck it on there and then clean it up afterwards. As you can see, it's a bit messy. Most people would do it a bit neater than me and should do, but I like to build fast, and once you clean it up, you'll notice the end product and the end finished build. I think the panel liner looks great on this. The panel lines themselves are fantastic. They're really deep, and the ones on the wings in particular are real standouts. But it all goes together quite simply. It's not a really difficult build. These Megasize Gunpla are very similar to the high grade range in terms of their build complexity, and they don't really have an inner frame. You just build them up as they are. But they're just at a massive scale. So instead of 1 to 144, it's 1 to 48. That does mean that these are nearly 2 foot tall, but they just look great. So I'm now moving on to the legs part, and again you can see some of that panel line detail. These are massive, so I'm going to apologise in advance. It's quite hard for me to get all of it on screen in places. I do my best. I could probably do better, but they're just so big, it's really hard to get these on screen and still show detail. So you'll notice there's a lot of zooming, not just here, but on the entire build, because trying to fit these on screen is difficult. They go together really well, and they're super solid. Like, it can really hold its weight. And as you can see, those are like the length of my forearm. They're massive. That's just the legs. And again, high grade Zaku next to it. Moving on to the waist, and this is a really simple part. It has to be sturdy because it has to hold all that upper waist, the upper torso. And it comes with these really cool little scabbards for the lightsaber beam parts. It goes together quite well. That back flap does fall off quite easy, but it just slots it on again if it ever does that. I could glue it on, but I'm not going to. And just a quick 360 of the legs. Moving on to the torso. This is a lovely part of the build. It's got a really cool mechanic for how the LED works in this. You get that green plastic part, and then that sort of white plastic part has a pipe that leads into the head through the neck. You can see at the top of that ball joint. And when you put the LED in, that LED light shines both through the chest, the front of the chest, for the nuclear engine. And it also shines through the eyes because of the pipe in the neck. And you can see here there's a little dial on the back of the backpack which controls that little switch there. And that plugs into the LED, into the switch on the LED. So when you've put it in, rotating that little dial on the back turns the LED off and on, which is a nice touch. I'm used to magnets on things like the Meng Eva 1. So there you can see the almost assembled model. It's absolutely massive. Again, that high grade Zaku T for scale. Moving on to the arms part of the build. This goes together really nice. The joints are all lovely and tight. Everything just assembles really nice. And because it's essentially a high grade, it goes together super quick. I think this build in total took me about 4 hours, 5 hours maybe. And that's including me filming it. If I was just building it, I'm sure I could have cut maybe an hour off of that. And due to the scale, you get a really satisfying build as well. I love building high grades, perfect grades, master grades. I've built all the different scales of Gunpla. And Megasize just have a really satisfying way of being assembled. Like this, these wings, they're massive, but they're 2 parts. And again, talking about panel lines and the quality of them, they're so deep and so nicely laid out on these wings that they just look fantastic. Again, it's quite hard to fit on screen, so I tried to do it. I had to give up and do some of it off screen just to get them on. And I'm going to move on to building out the head. It's got some nice clear parts on there, again for that aforementioned LED. So both the lens at the back of the head, the camera lens, and the eyes just light up. There's the LED does get weaker when it gets through to them compared to the chest, but it still looks great. And I just love the head on this. I think the design for the H2 is a great design. The weapons now, and this gun is huge. It's the size of a master grade on its own, and it's actually quite heavy, which does lead to a problem with posing. And you'll see that at the end of the video, because it is so big and it is so heavy that because of the centre of gravity, it makes it quite hard to pose holding that, because it wants to tilt forward all the time. Completed build, so moving on to finishing off the weapons, and here's the beam sabers, again nice and chunky, and to be honest, that's how I'm going to display it. My final review, I adore Megasize kits. I actually have all of them besides the Age 1. I've got the Char Zaku coming soon, the normal Zaku coming soon, and I already have the Char Zaku, the Unicorn, the Gramps, and now this Age 2 Gundam, and it just fits in lovely with them. As you can see, all of them next to each other. They take up a lot of space. They are hard to store and harder to display, but they just look brilliant. And again, that poor little high grade Zaku for scale in the background. Overall, a fantastic kit. That free LED, when you see it lit up here, has a really good wow factor, and one of my favourite starts to the year. 8 out of 10, brilliant kit. I will say that next time it may not be Gunpla related. I hope you look forward to that.